Hi everyone, and welcome to this short video from Adatis, where we will be showcasing the weekly retail analysis report that you can see on the screen now. So, retail is a hyper-competitive industry, with organizations continuously tracking and managing KPIs to get that very important competitive advantage. The Power BI Weekly Retail Analysis Report offers a detailed overview of the core KPIs. It offers an overview of the opportunities where we can save costs and opportunities for maximizing sales. All this allows us to take control of the business by assisting us in the decision-making process. So let's now go ahead and start using the report that we can see on the screen. We will first look to analyze week 2017-31 instead of the current week that is selected. So if we look in the top right over here, we will see that the current week selected is in fact 2017-33, but we want to analyze a previous week of 2017-31. So to do this, we simply go ahead and expand the slicer panel on the left hand side here. And using the slicer that is included in here, we can go ahead and select this. So select week. You'll notice that all the weeks are categorized under the relevant financial year. So we're going to scroll down, select the week that we require, which is week 31. Instantly, you see that numbers also render to our selection as well. Now, once again, we can simply collapse this by clicking the back button over here as well. The easy to read layout of the report allows us to understand the core KPIs of sales, of ATV, so average transaction value, UPT, so units per transaction, as well as conversion percentage. So in the top panel here, we have a summary section which displays our core KPIs. Apart from that, these core KPIs are broken down on the weekly level. They're also broken down on the month to date and also on the year to date as well. All this is for the purpose of giving a complete picture in regards to where we are now and to also understand if we are achieving our last year target. We then have the breakdown by region, which you can see over here in the report. And this is great for user groups or users that are at the executive level, the wider organization, and of course, regional managers in order to understand how well each region is performing. So right now we can see this says sales by region versus last year percentage, and we can easily see the only region that is overperforming compared to last year is in fact Midlands. Whilst if we go ahead and change the metric being displayed in this visual, so we can do that by selecting one of the four buttons here. So I'm going to go ahead and select units per transaction. What I can now see is that majority of regions are overperforming compared to last year, apart from the region of South. For the sake of this demo, we will just go ahead and reselect sales rather than UPT. Now, when we click on an individual element in Power BI, for example, if we take West and City of London, you'll notice that everything on screen renders to only display data for this particular region. And this here is part of Power BI's cross-filtering and cross-highlighting capability that allows report consumers as well as report authors to analyze data at a lower level of detail. So instantly we can see and understand the performance of this selected region using the top level metrics up here, as they have now all rendered, therefore filtered to only display data for West and City of London. Furthermore, we can now identify the sales for all the stores that belong to West and City of London by looking at the map visual over here as well. And we'll notice that all the stores highlighted are only stores that belong to the selected region. Also, it is now easy to maybe identify the top performing stores as well, as we can see that the two largest bubbles are over here, and of course the more sales that a store produces, the larger the bubble will be. So let's go ahead and take this bubble up here And we can see that a tooltip now pops up and the name of the store appears at the top. So we can see that this is Tottenham Court Road. And it shows us more than just the sales right now. It shows us the sales. It also shows us the top level KPIs such as ATV, UPT, conversion. But in addition, we can add additional metrics as we have here, such as the number of transactions and also the footfall. So by looking at this, we can raise the question on whether we could have made more opportunities to convert people walking into the store to customers. After all, the total number who walked into the store are 39, as we can see against the footfall, whilst we only managed to achieve 7 transactions. Maybe here we need to offer some more training to staff at this store, maybe to approach customers in a different way in order to increase the likelihood of closing a sale. Also, we have the breakdown of sales for the current week selected. Let me just quickly remove the filter from West and City of London by selecting anywhere on the white space. So over here we have this year versus last year sales by day of week. So we can see the sales for each day on the x-axis, therefore determine if a single day has contributed heavily to the overall weekly sales. Now, for the week selected of 2017-31, we can see that Tuesday has been the highest performing day for sales, whilst for last year we can clearly see that Monday was in fact the highest performing day for sales. Furthermore, here to the right we have the top 5 stores by sales variance percentage being displayed. But again, if we go ahead and now select an individual region, so let me go ahead and now select maybe Midlands, we will now instantly notice that the top 5 stores that are being displayed are only those that belong to the selected region of Midlands. And this is great for, again, identifying top performing stores and possibly rewarding them, or either allocating some of the staff from these top performing stores to maybe more lower performing stores for maybe training other staff members, or allowing them maybe to shadow them in various different areas of their work as well. It's also worth mentioning that in the top right hand side we have the question mark icon over here. Now, this is something we like to call guided learning, which assists the report consumers in understanding what capabilities and insight are available in the solution. So if I go ahead and click on this icon, we'll notice that we now have everything grayed out, and through the use of annotations and arrows, this solution is highlighting areas of the report that the report consumers can use to analyze data. To collapse this, all we need to do again is to select the question mark icon here in the top corner. Now, this is all great as it gives us a good overview of how we are doing against our last year target. But we also have the case where individual regional managers may want to view a lower level of detail for analyzing only their own region. So to do this, we simply need to right click on an element that contains region, such as these columns over here. So we have, of course, West and City of London, Midlands, North and South. So we can actually go ahead and right click one of them. So we're going to select Midlands again. And once we select Midlands, we'll see in the options we have something called drill through. And if we actually hover over drill through, we have an additional option of regional analysis. So let's go ahead and click that. And we are now directed to a new page called regional analysis, as we can see here in the title, that filters to the selected region only. And this is all through the Power BI drill through capability that allows report consumers to drill to a lower level detail and continue their analysis. So in other words, if we look at the labels up here, which allows us to understand what is selected here, we can see that the selected region is Midlands, as we drilled through from Midlands, and also the selected week is kept on 2017-31 because that's the same financial week we had selected in the previous page as well. Now, in the first visual, we can see here that we have sales by store versus last year percentage. So all stores are represented by the columns, which display the sales, and we can see the variance percentage being displayed through the line. And then we have the same on this side. So we have the columns, the stores on the x-axis, the columns representing the footfall for each store, and we also have a line that represents the conversion percentage as well. And over here we can notice that stores such as Shrewsbury and also Stamford have a high number of sales being generated when compared to other stores, which of course means we have exceeded our last year target. We can also see a correlation here with the conversion percentage, as when we see that sales are high for Shrewsbury and Stamford, if we go to the visual here on the right hand side, we can also see that the conversion percentage for these two stores are also the highest for or compared to all other stores as well. But what really stands out here is, why does a store such as Wolverhampton have such a low number of sales, however has the highest level of footfall compared to other stores, right? So in other words, it has the highest number of people walking in store. In fact, it has the highest count for all stores, but the lowest conversion percentage, right? So this is something we can go ahead and possibly investigate. So we will come back to this in a moment. Okay, so we then have the breakdown down here of product by product category. So we can see that books is the product category, and we can see that this is broken down into subcategories such as DIY, comics, non-fiction, children, and so on as well. So books is the highest performing in regards to sales for the region Midlands, while something like home and kitchen is the lowest performing. In the bottom right hand corner here we have a matrix that displays a more tabular or operational view of all our core KPIs. So we can see for the selected region of Midlands, we have all the stores being displayed below Midlands. We can then see that we have the sales, the variance percentage, the ATV variance percentage, as well as the UPT, and of course the versus last year variance percentage as well. But now let's shift our focus back to the store of Wolverhampton, which we identified it as having a low amount of sales, yet a large footfall count, right, and a low conversion percentage. Is this the case for all other weeks as well? Should we reach out to a store manager to see if any help is required, such as more staff during peak hours to handle people walking in, or maybe some additional training? Well, let's go ahead and look at this for all weeks in the current year that we are investigating. So once again, to do this, we use the Power BI drill through feature. So let's go ahead and right click on the column for Wolverhampton this time. We're going to select drill through and select trending analysis, and we can now see we've been directed to a new page called trending analysis as labeled up here. So we can now see that this is only showing the data for the store of Wolverhampton, and we removed and it removed the selection on the financial week of 2017-31, as we want to see everything for the entire year. So what we can see for Wolverhampton is that the sales have indeed start going down from week 2017-29. So we can see a gradual increase or a pattern of the sales value going to the low side, right? But what we see on the bottom visual from week 29 or even from week 25, we see a increase from a footfall perspective, yet from the week 29, a decrease from the conversion as well. So after looking at this, it's a good idea to maybe to reach out to a store manager to offer some help on how to improve here as well. So now to go back to our original page, all we need to do is simply select the back button over here. So if I select the back button, you'll see this takes us back to the regional analysis as we came to the trend analysis from the regional analysis. And now to go back to our main page, all we have to do again is simply select the back button and it should take us to the weekly retail analysis. Let's now say we want to do a deep dive into our data and analyze our core measures from various different attributes. So conduct a bit more ad hoc analysis. Well, to do this, we can go to the decomposition tree page, which we can access down here. So apart from weekly retail analysis, we have the decomposition tree analysis, which you can see on our screen now, right? And what we are going to do is display the breakdown of our sales or any other KPI that we may want by various attributes such as region, product, category, gender, and so on. So as you can see right now, the default is number of transactions. However, I want us to analyze sales. So to do this, I can simply select the slice panel here on the left hand side, and you'll notice that we have two slices available here. So we're going to go ahead and select sales rather than number of transactions, and you'll see now it displays the sales here rather than number of transactions. So we can apply filters on which metric KPI we want to conduct our analysis on. Apart from that, we would also want to go ahead and maybe add some additional data here. So we want to select maybe the entire year of 2017. So I'm going to go back to the slicer panel. I'm going to go to select week, and rather than select individual weeks from here, I'm simply going to select the top level 2017 in order to return back all data for this financial year. And we can see now that the sales have increased to 1.3 million. So we now want to go ahead and start using or drilling through into our data. So I can select the plus icon here, and these are all the attributes that we can drill through or go through from the top level of sales. For example, I'm going to select region over here, and notice now I have this broken down into region. So for West and City of London, we can see that majority of the sales of 1.3 million are coming from West and City of London, which makes sense as this is our highest performing region. I will then go ahead and select the plus icon here, and you can see we can go lower and lower and lower as well. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and select product subcategory, and we can now see we really are diving into the detail of our report. Also, I may now want to further analyze the option of the product subcategory kids. So if I select the plus icon now, this time we will notice that we have something called high value as well as low value being displayed here. And both of these are built-in AI features. So if I go ahead and select high value, what happens? Power BI will now consider all the available fields we have and determine which one to drill into for the purpose of getting the highest value of the measure being analyzed, which of course in this case is sales. To finish up, if we go to our last page of ask a question, here we can see that we have an area where we can type something in. So we are taking advantage of the Q&A visual, which uses natural language processing, therefore allows report consumers to type what they want to display. For example, if I select ask a question about your data, I can go ahead and maybe ask, show me sales and sales last year as a clustered column chart, and there we go. You can see I made a spelling mistake here, and Power BI does correct that for us as well, but right now that's not very useful. Well, let's go ahead and view it by region. So I can type by region, and there we have it. So we can now see how easy it is to actually go ahead and type in our question for Power BI to return back the result that we are looking for. So that is everything for this video on the weekly retail analysis report.